Veneers are not new, but with the uprise of plastic surgery and social media, I feel like people are really looking into veneers and sometimes going to extremes with them. So today I want to talk about the pros and cons of veneers. For this video, of course, I reached out to experts to get their take on veneers. One of them is Dr. Suhail Mohiuddin. He is a dentist and founder of Dentology in Chicago. I also reached out to one of my personal favorites, Dr. Joyce Kahng, who is a cosmetic dentist and also the owner of Orange and Magnolia Dental Studio in Costa Mesa, California. And last, I reached out to Dr. Fung, who's also a cosmetic dentist and the founder of Silicon Beach Dental here in Los Angeles. So one of the reasons why I'm fascinated by veneers is because I have been in Los Angeles for a while now. I think it's been like definitely over a decade, maybe 12, 13 years that I've lived here. And it wasn't until I moved to LA that I became very familiar with veneers, because it turned out everybody here has them. If you are wealthy, if you're on camera, if you're trying to be an actor, if you're trying to be a model, they all have veneers. And for the longest time, I was like, wow, everybody just has perfect teeth here. And you might have even thought this yourself. If you look on social media or you look at celebrities, even singers, you might notice that their teeth are just perfect. And you might wonder, well, what is it that causes their teeth to be so perfect? Like, what did they do? Did they win the genetic lottery when it comes to their teeth? It turns out a lot of the time they just replace their teeth with something called veneers. Another reason why I am really interested in this topic is because I'm often accused of having a mouthful of veneers, which I always find a little bit funny because I'm always trying to figure out ways to perfect my teeth. You guys have even seen me get braces here on this YouTube channel, which I still didn't wear my retainers long enough. That's my fault. So I still don't think that my teeth even look perfect. But when people accuse me of having veneers, they really get hardcore about it. They're like, you absolutely do. And even when I say I don't, they fight me and say that I must have veneers and I'm just lying about it. And I just have no idea why anybody would want to argue that with someone, because veneers are really extreme and no one seems to talk about the extremes of it. So I feel like if people knew the effects of veneers, they wouldn't accuse people so much of having things like veneers, because it really is a lot to think about before you even consider getting them. And that's why I wanted to do this video. So these days you can get onto TikTok, especially, and just social media, and you will see people go out there, especially young people. And when I say young, I mean people are like in their early 20s who just want to look overly perfect because of what they imagine is beautiful or what they should look like on social media. They go out to places like Turkey and they get their teeth completely replaced with veneers, and then they make this seem like this is normal, when that is really extreme. And even Dr. Joyce was saying what we tend to see on social media, these extremes, those are not what true veneers are. Those actually tend to be full coverage restorations where they have to drill all of their teeth into these weird little nubs. You've probably seen this. They almost look like they're Dracula for a second when they drill their teeth down, and then they replace them completely. So they're not even really doing true veneers. They're doing something that's completely different and much more extreme, but they're making it seem like it's so normal. If you're not familiar with veneers, they're essentially a material that is placed over your tooth to make it look better. And they can be made of different materials. They can be made out of a composite, which is sort of like plastic. It's a material that they use a lot of the time when you have a filling for a cavity, for instance. Those are usually handmade by a dentist, and it's almost like an art. You have to choose a cosmetic dentist who has an aesthetic. I think just across the board, actually, you have to choose a dentist that has an aesthetic that you like, because they're really kind of shaping the look of your teeth when they are giving you veneers. And then there are porcelain veneers, and those are more of like a ceramic type of material, and those are lab engineered and tend to be a little bit more expensive and sturdy, in my opinion. So there are different types of materials that you can choose, and it all really depends on the cosmetic dentist that you go to, and also probably your budget. But really what a veneer is a material that goes over your tooth to just make your tooth look better. As far as a perfect candidate for veneers, I think that really comes down to the dentist that you choose to see, because it really comes down to a little bit of an opinion. Dr. Mohiuddin basically said the perfect candidate for veneers is someone who wants to improve the shape, shade, or size of their teeth, but he definitely seemed to be more on the conservative side when it comes to choosing veneers for people. And one thing he also pointed out was that you should have minimal alignment issues, meaning that your teeth should be pretty straight before you get veneers too. So that basically leads to, what are the pros? So the pros are pretty straightforward. Obviously, veneers can look really nice. If you want a Hollywood perfect smile, veneers are the way to go. That's how people in Hollywood have a perfect smile. It is not their genetics. It's because they usually have something like veneers. But you also don't have to go to extremes when it comes to veneers, and I think that's usually the best reason to get them when you just need maybe one tooth fixed or a couple of teeth fixed. Maybe you've got some stains that you just cannot get rid of on your front teeth, then you might want to get veneers for your two front teeth. If you have a tooth that's like slightly chipped on the side, or if you just have one tooth that just doesn't seem to line up with all of the other ones and you don't want to go all the way to getting braces just for this one slightly off tooth or something, you might then go see a cosmetic dentist to see if veneers are right for you. There are a lot of reasons like that when people will choose veneers. So it's basically like a quicker route to getting the smile that you want. Or like Dr. Joyce said, it addresses insecurities that you might have with your smile. So you're probably thinking, well, these sound great, so why wouldn't I do them? Let's talk about this. I actually went down this whole rabbit hole of TikTok videos and found Dr. Mohiuddin because he posts some really good videos about the cons of veneers, especially the extremes. I think that's really what it comes down to. He finds all of these people who are in their early 20s who are going out there and just completely replacing their teeth, and he really brings up some of those cons. So let's talk about the first one. And the first one is that you just might not be a candidate for it. Now, I say that knowing that you might go to a cosmetic dentist and they might not care. They might just give you the veneers because you want them and let you deal with any issues that might come with it. But if you're a person who actually needs braces, a good dentist is going to tell you you need actual braces first. If you are a person who maybe like grinds your teeth, then they're also not going to be good for you because you have a high risk of chipping your teeth. If you're a person who just doesn't have healthy teeth or you are at high risk of cavities, there are people who are at higher risk of cavities. I'm kind of one of them because I get cavities all the time no matter how well I take care of my teeth. Then you just might not be the right candidate for it because you have to have a healthy tooth underneath to even stick a veneer to it, right? Your veneer has to be able to latch on to a healthy tooth. So if you don't have healthy teeth to begin with, then you can't just replace them with veneers. The second con is that they are extremely expensive. I want you to think about this. A veneer can cost anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 each. I mean, if you think about that, we have like 32 teeth on average in our mouth. We're probably not replacing the back ones with veneers, but if you're replacing all of the teeth that are visible when you smile, that is expensive. And here's the other catch. Veneers do not last forever. So if you get them when you are in your early 20s, and this is where Dr. Mohiuddin really caught me, if you are in your early 20s, let's say you are 21 years old and you go off to Turkey and you replace all of your teeth with veneers, fine, maybe you could afford it the first time, but now you're gonna have to replace them again. According to Dr. Mohiuddin, veneers only last 8 to 10 years. So think about that. If you get them at 20, 21, you have to replace them every decade of your life. That's not a great way to celebrate your birthday. Every time you hit that milestone birthday, you turn 30, time to replace my teeth. You turn 40, time to replace my teeth. That sounds like hell to me. And it gets very expensive because you're doing that every single time. So that $1,500, and they probably get more and more expensive every year too. So $1,500, $1,000, $1,500 per tooth every decade. That is expensive. If you're wondering some of the reasons why they don't last forever, one, I mean, they're in your mouth. I feel like even just my real teeth can be prone to, chipping, staining, coming apart if the bonding doesn't last or something. Any of those kinds of things can happen to your veneers. If you get composite veneers, for instance, those are also prone to staining. So if they get really severe stains, you might want to replace them because you got veneers to have perfect looking teeth in the first place. And here's another con. Each time you replace your veneers, there is additional trauma to your teeth. Because you saw when they put your veneers on, they have to drill down on your teeth to begin with. So your teeth are already not the same, right? So they have to do that to get them on the first time. And to be fair, like Joyce had said, that's not the norm, what we tend to see on social media. Most cosmetic dentists, like the ones that I interviewed for this video, are definitely more conservative and they're trying to keep your teeth healthy. Like that is their main concern. So of course they're taking a more conservative approach with your teeth, but each time you have to replace your veneers, you're causing additional trauma to your teeth underneath. So that can lead to other issues, one of them being root canals. So if you're getting veneers, you are potentially committing yourself to just a lifetime of teeth issues. And when you think about that, you might actually experience a lot of psychological issues with having dental issues. You obviously were the kind of person who wanted perfect teeth by getting all of these veneers if you went to those extremes, and then to experience teeth that constantly need to be fixed, that are starting to bother you, maybe become painful, that just become a constant issue for you, that really can cause some psychological damage. So really think about what you're committing to when you are going for veneers. And of course, I'm really focusing on the people who go to the extremes with their veneers, because again, I don't want to sway you from veneers. They have their time and their place. It just tends to not be so extreme. And the last con that really stands out to me is that they are irreversible. You are making a commitment. So if you decide to get veneers, whether it's on one tooth or all of your teeth, you can never go back. You can never go back. That's it. That is it. You have made that commitment. It is different from other types of plastic surgery. If you get breast implants, you can get those out. You'll have to obviously go through surgery to do it, but you can take those out. If you get filler in your face, you can have that dissolved. If you get Botox, it completely goes away after like 3 to 4 months. But veneers, you are committing. So now that I've properly scared you, and on purpose, I really want to point out I'm talking about the extremes here. I just feel like the extremes are starting to become more of the norm, at least on social media. We're seeing way too many people, especially young people, go out there and make it seem like getting all of your teeth replaced with veneers, or getting what Joyce says are full-on restorations, is just a normal, easy procedure, when it's really not. So I want to point that out to you before you start to glamorize this and start to think in your head, I'm just gonna book a trip to Turkey. It's not that easy. Put the brakes on. You just want to really think about this. So what I would say is it's all about finding the right dentist. And I know the next question will be, well, how do you find a good dentist? Obviously, you want to find a dentist that has really good reviews, that seems pretty conservative, and not just conservative in the look that they're going for, but just in their approach to dentistry. You want to make sure they're not going to just say yes to everything that you suggest when you walk in, or if you say that you want to just replace all of your teeth right away. You want to have the dentist that says to you, let's take a little step back and see what else we can do before we go to extremes. And also, according to Dr. Joyce, she says a good cosmetic dentist who really specializes in restorative and cosmetic dentistry will also be minimally invasive, meaning that they're gonna try to keep as much of your real tooth as possible. They're not gonna try to shave it down into those sharp little nubs that we see on social media. Another point that she makes also is that you wanna make sure the dentist you see is not just a dentist. You want to make sure that this is what they focus on, because you want someone who has a lot of experience in it. Dr. Fung also suggests asking the dentist to show you some of their past cases. Luckily, we now have social media, so we can see a lot of their before and afters, but you can request to see even more from the actual dentist when you go see them, and ask them questions about what they've done in cases that are similar to yours. And then where Dr. Mohiuddin really got me was the approach that he would first take before resorting to veneers. He said, one, he would suggest braces or orthodontics. So there are all these different options. You can get Invisalign, you can get braces that are behind your teeth, you can get the clear braces. There are just so many different options, and that's usually one of the ways that he makes his patients happy. After that, if they want a little bit more, he then resorts to whitening the teeth. And he says at that point, once they've had the braces and they've had their whitening, 95% of his patients tend to be really happy with their results, and they're done. They don't have to go any further. Then if they still feel like they want something else, then he will maybe suggest crowns or veneers to just replace a couple of those teeth. He's not trying to replace all of the teeth in your mouth, because that is just too much of an extreme. A big thank you to the dentist that helped me with this video. I really think it's an important message to get out there. You can find so much information about veneers, but I feel like the pros always seem to be put out there a little bit more, and especially the extremes on social media. So I think it's also good to have a healthy chat about the cons as well. That way you really know what you're getting yourself into. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. I can also reach out to the dentist if I don't know the answer, because I don't know a lot about teeth when it really comes down to it. If you have had veneers, tell us about your experience in the comments, because that's always helpful for everyone too. I'll leave links to everybody in the description. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm at Susan Yara. I'll talk to you guys soon. Appreciate your teeth.